Hello everyone and welcome to our today's topic on the evidences of organic evolution in reference to the comparative embryology. So evidences from comparative embryology. So one of the most fascinating source of evidence for the validity of Darwin's theory of evolution come from the study of comparative embryology. A remarkable similarity has been noticed by von Baer among the vertebrates embryo whose adults are markedly different. That means the embryos are similar, but the adults are different. As the Darwin's evolution suggests that more complex organisms have been achieved their state by elaborating on the existing development patterns of more primitive forms. So, one would expect to find that certain relativity among the simple organisms and more complex organisms have many initial developmental steps which are in common. So, in fact, the more developmental steps two species have in common, the more closely related they are to a common ancestral forms. So, it is most commonly observed that the embryo of higher animals they repeat many of the times in their stages through which the embryo of higher animals have passed, and this process may be referred as recapitulation. Or this concept, as it was originally used by von Baer, this indicates that some of the developmental stages of an organism are similar to some of the developmental stage of its ancestor. Unfortunately, however, Ernst Haeckel in 1866 modified the concept into biogenetic law, which states that ontogeny recapitulates phylogeny. That means it is the development the individual passes through stage like the adult stage of its ancestor. This the homologies were traced at the following levels: homology in early development, then homology in early embryos, and recapitulation theory, retrogressive metamorphosis, and neoteny. So let us discuss each of these levels. Let us first have a look on homology in early development. So multicellular organisms, they have evolved from a single celled ancestor, that is the egg, or you can say protocell. Here in this diagram, you can see the developmental process from which the egg undergo cleavage, then converts into blastula, and finally it converts into gastrula, and so on. This is the normal developmental stage in higher animals. So ontogeny starts with the egg. After fertilization, the egg divides into two, like this. It divides into 2, 4, 8, 16, and then 32 and 64, like and so on. So such process of division of the egg into such number of cells, that is called as cleavage. This process is called cleavage, and the cleavage results into the formation of blastula, and the cells, each of the cell of these blastula, they are referred as blastomeres. Okay, these blastomeres, they are they multiply rapidly by mitosis, forming a solid ball which is called morula. The blastomeres of the morula, they arrange themselves to form a hollow space like this. You can see here a hollow space inside this ball, and this hollow space is called blastocele. And now this stage, you can say this one, this is the blastula. Inside the blastula there is a cavity called blastocele cavity. Okay, the formation of blastula is called as blastulation, and the blastula is then converted into a 2 or 3 layered embryonic stage. Likewise here it is getting converted into this 2 layer or 3 layer embryonic stage, okay, which is called gastrula. Gastrula encloses a cavity called archenteron. Here inside the gastrula there is a cavity called archenteron, which opens outside by an opening called blastopore. So in the diagram here also it is labeled as blastopore. Okay. The three layers of the cell in the gastrula, these are also shown in the diagram as ectoderm, endoderm and mesoderm. The formation of gastrula may be called as gastrulation. In the embryogeny of each and every animal, there are cleavage, there is formation of blastula, there is formation of gastrula. So these stages are fundamentally similar in all animals. The variations in these stages are due to differences in the organization of the egg. The occurrence of cleavage, blastula and gastrula in all animals suggests that they have a common ancestor, and hence this supports the theory of organic, or this proves a evidence for organic evolution. Okay. Then next, here we will see the similarities of embryo or evidences from embryology. In the similarities of embryo, there are numerous examples of recapitulation phenomenon during embryonic development, but one of the most best is offered by a comparison of different vertebrate embryos. So these are various vertebrate embryos. Uh, these are at the comparable stage in their development. Here in this figure, you can see various embryos in the comparable stages. It is fascinating to see that the early embryos of all vertebrates are very similar. You can see here the early embryos, they are all similar in their appearance. During the early embryonic stages in the series, all the embryo look very much alike. All have similar pharyngeal arches, then pharyngeal clefts. This is very clear when embryo of a fish, a amphibian, a reptile, a man are arranged side by side here, just like in the diagram. The embryos are so similar that only an expert can identify if they are misplaced, if they are mingled here and there. So only an expert can identify. Otherwise, they look very much similar. The common pattern of embryonic development is due to common ancestry. At somewhat later stages in the series, the hind bird or limb bird, primordia of the forelimb and hind limb, they are forming in all embryos, as you can see in the diagram. They are forming in all embryos in a similar way, and all of them have embryonic tails. That is also quite similar in all embryos. Again, the embryo of a closely related animal are more alike than those of the animals which are uh, apart in their, you can say, classification. So for the example, you can see the fish is more like, embryo of the fish is more like that of the embryo of the amphibia and like that of the reptilia or bird. So embryo of a rabbit is, or you can say embryo of a man is more like that of the uh, reptile or bird. At this stage, the gills have formed from the tissue lining of the gillets of both the fishes and salamander. Okay. Later, each embryo have developed features that indicate clearly its definitive embryo of these diverse animals, which progressively diverge from the common pattern and attain their respective adult morphosis. Okay. Then next uh, evidence, that is biogenetic law or recapitulation theory. So ontogeny is the individual development history from the egg to the adult, and phylogeny is the series of adult ancestral animals through which it is evolved. The important principle of recapitulation theory is that embryonic stages repeat the evolutionary history of its ancestor. The recapitulation theory is a very good example of evidence of evolution. This theory can be sustained by a number of examples. That is why the amphibians repeat the ancestral stages like fish, that means tadpole, in their embryogeny. Biogenetic law was postulated by Ernst Haeckel in 1861. This theory says that higher animal in their development possess or passes through the stages which are similar to the adult stages of lower animal, which would be their ancestors. In brief, ontogeny repeats or recapitulates phylogeny. According to biogenetic law of Haeckel, the fertilized egg can be compared to hypothetical single-celled, here you can say fertilized egg can be hypothetically similar to or compared to single-cell flagellated ancestor, which may be called protozoa of all animals, and colonial protozoans, which with cleavage and coelentrates with gastrula. In all the animals, the fertilized egg undergo cleavage to form a multicellular morula that we have seen. This shows that the ancestors of these animals were one in the morula stage. This stage is now represented by the colonized protozoans like volvox, as if you remember the diagram of volvox. So it is similar. The blastula can be compared to colonized protozoa or to some hypothetic blastula like animal which has been postulated to be the ancestor of all metazoa animals. The morula develops into blastula. The blastula is represented by porifera. Okay, so fertilized egg represented by protozoa, and blastula is hypothetically similar to porifera. Haeckel believed that the ancestors of coelentrates and all the higher animals were a gastrula-like organisms with two layers of cells and a central cavity connected by a blastopore to the outside. In all animals, the blastula develops into a gastrula. This means that the ancestors were one like gastrula. This ancestor is represented by coelentrate of the modern animals. So thus, this shows that the evolution of animal is in the sequence that single-celled protozoan then get colonized into colonial protozoans, which then get modified into coelentrates. Then egg, that just shown in the figure, just egg hypothetically similar to protozoa, blastula which is hypothetically similar to porifera, gastrula similar to, or you can say compared with coelentrates, then tadpole maybe like that of the fish, and so on. Such type of adult amphibian are formed. So modern scientists prefer von Beer's recapitulation concept, that biogenetic law of Haeckel. Von Beer principle of embryonic differences or differentiation constitute a better guide to embryological evidence of the evolution. These principles of the von Beer are better adopted by modern scientists. Okay, then next, retrogressive metamorphosis. The Ascidian tadpole is free swimming and possesses all the three chordate characters. And what are these three chordate characters? That is presence of gill slits, presence of notochord, and three germ layers. So on metamorphosis, it changes into sedentary degenerated adult. During metamorphosis, it loses all the chordate features like notochord, nerve cord, and myotomes. This is called retrogressive metamorphosis. The larva has helped in determining its chordate nature. And last one, that is neoteny. The recapitulation theory holds that the embryo of lower animals resembles the adult of their ancestor. Neoteny contradicts this view. In neoteny, the larval forms develop reproductive organs before metamorphosis. In some animals, like such which is shown in the figure, axolotl larva of ambystoma. The larva fails to undergo metamorphosis. It develops gonads, attains sexual maturity, and start reproduction. This is called neoteny or pedi, pedogenesis. Okay. When animal develops reproductive organ, it becomes an adult. So neoteny refers to retention of the larval characters in the adult. Hence, neotenous form resembles the larval forms of their ancestor. Retention of primitive or larval features provide the evidences in favor of evolution. Under specifically favorable circumstances, natural selection favors the retention of primitive or larval characters. This is not in agreement with the recapitulation theory. Okay, so this is all regarding the evidences from indirect evidences from organic evolution.